the mere existence of a narration, existence of, without paying attention to the fact that there are other narrations which are opposing to this, it's not enough. Yeah, there is a different opinion. The author of Urwa, he doesn't accept this. He says that it's not sufficient to rely on one narration. But on other occasions, the author of the Urwa, he says it is sufficient to accept the word of someone who is trustworthy, even if he was kafir or fasiq, not non-religious. So there is a difference of opinion. Is it sufficient to rely on the narrations of one or not? Perhaps the fact that recent scholars have, it is well known that have accepted that that one can rely on one narration, someone who is trustworthy, credible. But what you're saying is not enough. The author of the Urwa, he says that, he addresses. But if you look at the reasoning of others, the mere existence of one narration is not enough. You need to see the whole picture. There are narrations which are contrary to it or explanatory to this. So overall, it's not sufficient. It's not good enough to rely on this narration. The criterion in performing salah in full or in short, or fasting or not fasting, the criterion is whether you are resident or not resident. Wherever a place is their area of dwelling, or even if he's sitting in a renting home, if it's not his normal dwelling place, if it's not a dwelling area, even if it's his own house, then his salah is short and he can't fast. Everyone has his own duty and obligation according to his intentions, and the issue of performing salah in full or short is one issue. There is a difference of opinion about this. If one is not intending to return, then we don't know. It's not proven that he has. This qualifies. There is strong difference of opinion My understanding is that
رجوعه، اما اگر تعرضای دیگه شد نه به قصد رجوع نه رجوع نیست. رجوع قصد میخواد الا در دخول.
if one,
چی؟
in case of divorce and ruju',
در
it depends on the intention. However,
خارجاً
if there was no,
رجوعه. ببینید دلیل نه اینو گفته نه اونو گفته.
in the case of
مسئله عرفیه. دلیل
performing
گفته
penetration,
دخول رجوع
then
حتی اگه
that will be
داشته باشه.
qualified
مسئله عرض کردم.
as ruju',
فرمودن برداشت.
returning back to marriage, even if one didn't have the intention.
واقعاً نعوذ بالله زناست. اما دخول کرد. این دخول عرفاً رجوعه. اما چیزای دیگه معلوم نیست.
So if one doesn't have the intention of ruju' to return, and he even considered having sex is zina, but if this happened, then this will be qualified as ruju', returning back to the marriage.
حالا مسئله گناه الان یادم نیست. اگه قصد رجوع نداره گناه الان تو ذهنم نیست.
So I can't recall if one doesn't have the intention of ruju', will it qualify as a sin? I can't recall that. I can't
اگه قصد رجوع
recall if it is the case.
غیر دخول بله الان تو ذهنم نیست. بله قاعدتا همینه اما خب یعنی الان یادم نی مسئله اطراف مسئله. بله خود بلندتر بفرمایید. آره درست. نه زوج باید قصد رجوع داشته باشه.
No, the intention should be on behalf of the husband to have the intention of ruju' or returning back to the marriage.
در دخول همین رو میگیم که فرمودن اما غیر دخول آره خب نه عملش کاشفه از قصد رجوعه نه کاشف نه دخول بله شارع فرموده
If other than penetration, if one has certain deeds, in the Sharia, it's not explained as to what are the manifestation of ruju', what counts as ruju'. In other than penetration, one has to have the intention of ruju', to do whatever. So in other than penetration, then he should have the intention to have intention for ruju'.
واقعا قصد داشته به ظاهر عمل میشه دیگه مثل جاهای دیگه. چرا نه اگرم شک کردیم از عدم قصد یعنی اگر نگفت چیزی بهش گفتیم قصد رجوع کردی یا نه هیچی نگفت و ما نمیدونیم راستی قصد کرده یا قصد نکرده.
If one doesn't say whether or not he had the intention of ruju', then the default is that he didn't have the intention.
میدونم آخه طلاق که داده یعنی جدایی و خلاف فرض که اگه تقبیل کرده این معناش رجوع یعنی ظهور
when divorce takes place, when he's done the divorce. Now afterwards,
قبول داریم هر چی ظهور عرفی داشته باشه که
if he kisses his wife, will it qualify as رجوع?
اگه باشه قبول یعنی انکار عرفه که عرف مجرد تقبیل و امثالش را رجوع حساب میکنه مگه بدونه به قصد رجوع.
So in common sense or the urf, kissing doesn't qualify as رجوع unless he had the intention of رجوع.
شخص متدین اون قرینه میشه عیبی نداره اگه یه جای قرینه بود بر این که این قرینه کاشف بود از این که قصد رجوع کرده اما اگه راستی قصد متدین نیست مثلا بلد نیست و نمیدونیم قصد رجوع کرده یا نه از عدم قصد
if he's not religious and he doesn't know the rulings, then if he did something, then the default value is that he didn't have the intention of رجوع.
همینجا ببینید در اون مسئله عمل العامی بلا تقلید بلا احتیاط باطل اکثر فقها حاشیه کردن قبول نکردن فرمایش عمل عامی اگر مطابق واقع چرا باطل بود؟
Most scholars don't accept his words, what he said. If one in order to be sure, in order to be sure that he's fully discharged his duty, he should either be a mujtahid or should be muqallid, a follower of a mujtahid, or do ihtiyat. So he needs to do one of these three, to be in one of these three categories.
همینم اکثر قبول نکردن از ایشون. ببینید حاشیه اونها فقهان.
Even if this is not accepted, if you see the commentaries on the Urwa, this has no credibility. The narration says for the common people to do his taqleed, but it doesn't say what taqleed is. Taqleed in Arabic means to do according to what he says. They said taqleed means to act accordingly. It isn't adhering to. So taqleed, does it mean adhering to the instructions or implementing those instructions and doing those instructions? So will it be said that he is doing taqleed? No.
واجب از باب اینکه
Now this doesn't qualify as sin.
کنه که امتثال کرده. اگه واقعا امتثال بود و احراز نبود
He needs to make sure
جریه گناه نیست.
that he's acted
یعنی
accordingly.
احراز میخواد. بله. نه اما هنوز عمل نکرد. این مقلده یعنی اگه اون
No, but he still hasn't acted upon them, upon those instructions.
اینکه الان تقلید
Will that be taqlid?
اگر یک کسی تصمیم گرفت
But he has the intention to do taqlid. No.
حسن زمان خودتون تقلید کنن، اما قبل از اینکه به یکی از اقوال حسن عمل بکنه حسن فوت شد، این میتونه باقی بمونه، اسمش بقاء نه همین ولهذا اثرش در بقاء.
So if one intended to do taqlid of Sayyid Abul Hasan Isfahani, but before he acted upon any of his instructions, he passed away, will he be able to continue staying on the taqlid of Sayyid Abul Hasan Isfahani? No. But if he hasn't acted, just as in the example I've said, in this example that I gave, so is it permissible for him to stay on his taqlid? It is said that no, because he hasn't even started doing that taqlid before he passed away. This is according to the different categories or different levels of the Walai al-Hasba. If he's bankrupt, then he doesn't have the right to deal with his wealth. Then it should be to the Hakim al-Shar, to the Mujtahid. If there was no Hakim Shar or Mujtahid available, Marja' Taqlid available, then the religious people, those who are in the mu'mineen who are well committed, then they should take care of the issue. There are criteria which is if it's permissible, then it's wajib. If it's permissible, then it's wajib. Taqlid means without reasoning, one follows someone else. When they say it's permissible, then it's wajib. For the common people, for the layman. But in here, when it says permissible, that means it's wajib. It becomes obligatory for him to do so. If he's mujtahid, he doesn't do taqlid. If it's someone in a state of ihtiyat, then he doesn't need to do that. Only the lay people. There is a severe, strong disagreement on this issue. amongst jurists.
منجزاتش محل خلافه. خود من برداشتم اینه که منجزاتش حجته ولو روایاتش مختلفه و فقها مختلف فرمودن.
Even
بالنتیجه در جمع بین روایات فقها محل خلافه که آیا منجزات مثل معلقات
so
یعنی نافذ نیست.
overall there is the difference of opinion
فروخ تو مرض موت
whether these are
نافذه یا نه.
applicable or not.
ظاهرا نافذ منجزات.
I think apparently on face value they are applicable.
نه 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 فعلی. ببینید فعلیت شرط. مرضی که در اون مرض بمیره، اما اگه یه مرضی پیدا کرد سبب شد 10 سال بعد مرد، مثل اینا که نعوذ بالله یه سرطان‌های خفیف پیدا میکنن. نه، مرض موت یعنی المرض الذي مات فيه. موت فعلیت در اون.
مرض الموت means the disease that one dies of it as a result. Not those, for example, like cancer when one dies, like say 10 years later.
همون علت. ببینید باید به همون علت و تو همون مریض.
No, it should be that because of that disease and while one hasn't recovered from that disease, one dies.
بله. هذا بحث آخر لا يطيق هيش مثل لا
This-
يطيق الأمر بالمعروف والنهي.
This is a different issue. If
هذا أنتوا تقولون
he cannot do
يقولون إطلاق إذا قدر
enjoining good and prohibiting evil,
البحث فيما إذا كانت قدرة.
this is what you're saying.
كل شيء
No, this is the issue is about when you are able to do it.
في أهم الواجبات تكليف معكم. القدرة الشرط الأساسي لفعلية الأمر.
Then if you don't have the ability to do it, then it's if you don't have the ability to do it, then it's not wajib for you. Even the most important thing.
لا إذا التزم عنوانا ثانوي لازم يشوف أي العنوانين أهم عند الشارع. استجاع.
There is the issue is competing priorities.
بله.
This one over there, just
همین اگه مریضی شد و در اون مرض مرد اونجا معلق
if one becomes ill and dies as a result,
اما منجزاتش محل خلاف جماعتی فرمودن. منم برداشتم همینه که نافذه.
then his
بله چطور؟
the, some of the things he said are applicable.
در سفیه نه. بله اگر کسی مشکوک و سفهه حاکم جامع الشرایط فقیه جامع الشرایط حکم کرد که این
If
سفیه
someone is
اسباب
feeble-minded or is
منم قبول
suspected of being so,
حاکم در موضوعات معتبره از اون باب بله. اما اگه کسی حکم حاکم در موضوعات بدون نزاع نه در باب قضا در موضوعات که نزاع
but
در
the ruling of the jurist
نزاع داره که این خونه مال اینه
is
مال
applicable.
فقیه جامع شرایط حکمش نافذه بلا اشکال. اما اگر یه موضوعیه که نه چون
But,
نزاع
for example,
اومدن پیش حاکم یه آدم سفیه یا سفیه نیست، یه آدم یک قدری چیز
So if there is a dispute between two people, whether this house belongs to one or the other, then the rule, the opinion of the mujtahid or marja' taqlid is applicable. But in the case of someone who is suspected to be insane, then the opinion of the marja' is questionable whether it's mandatory or applicable. If issue an order instruction, one of them is a citation of halal. If he gives a hukm, then it's applicable. If you see the commentaries on the Urwa, the hukm of the hakim, of the marja' taqlid, on issues when there is no disputation between two people are applicable. فَلْيَرْضُ this lam means it's wajib. So when it says, the narration says that حَكَمَ بِحُكْمِنَا, that the decree or the hukm of marja' taqlid is like our hukm, then this is unqualified, has an absolute nature. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل.
يلبي حشايل من قطيع مني حشايل يا ماي العين عقبك نزل بيها الماي يا ماي العين عقبك نزل بيها الماي ظنيت أنا بكي وخيبت ظنيت